Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you a review of the new Natasha Denona Mini Sunset Palette. So if you guys want to see a tutorial, my thoughts about this palette and swatches, then just keep on watching. Alright, so the Mini Sunset Palette is already available online and in stores at Sephora for $25. It has 0.14 ounces of product and it comes with 5 shadows, 3 shimmer shades, and 2 matte shades. And this is supposed to be exactly what it sounds like. It's a mini sunset palette. It has those very similar tones as the full-size sunset palette, which is $129. So this is the first product that I own from Natasha Denona, so I don't really have a full frame of reference of the formula of the sunset palette, but I have heard that it is a little bit different, so I'm going to get into that. And I actually did go to Sephora yesterday and swatch the sunset palette so I can get a comparison. I took some swatch photos in Sephora, so I'll insert those too. So let's go ahead into swatches so you guys can see how the shadows apply, just swatched, before we get into the tutorial. Alright, so getting into swatches, this will go by pretty quickly, hopefully, because there's only 5 shades. The first shade is called Guava, and this is a light kind of orangey brown shade. It's what I've used the whole palette today, so you guys will see how I use it all. And then the next shade is Apollo, and this is, to me, the shade that performs the worst. And just look how much I've already used, and I'll talk about that. It's just like it swatches really nicely. It actually goes onto your eye really nicely, but getting the product onto your brush, they're just so like firmly packed into the palette that it just takes a bit, and I've already used up a decent amount of the product just for having it for just a couple days, a little bit less than a week. And then the next shade is called Dirty Mars. This is like my favorite kind of transition shade. It's a warm brown color. It goes on really smooth. It applies beautifully. I really love that transition shade. The next we have the shade Sunbeam. This is a copper color, and it's very similar to Apollo, where you need to really press your brush to get like the product to stick onto your brush, but on your eye it actually does apply a lot more smooth. And then lastly we have the shade Halo, which is not as a dense shade as the other 2 shimmer shades. It does apply with a bit more fallout, but it's a lot easier to like pick up the actual shadow onto your brush. So those are the 5 shades. They show up pigmented. They basically look like this when you apply them onto your eyes, and I'm wearing all 5 shades today. And they've always applied like really consistently on my eye with the different eye looks I've done in just the past couple of days. So the shadows are really pigmented. They do apply nicely on your eyes. The real issue is just getting, especially these 2 shimmer shades, to really get the product like onto your brush, because I really need to dig in there because they're just like so firmly pressed into the palette. And usually when that happens with an eyeshadow palette, like when I go to apply it on my eye, it's just like a disaster. It's either like super powdery or I need to like build and build and build product. But that's not the case when I go to apply it on my eye. It's really just when I try to get the product onto my brush because they're so firmly pressed into the palette. And then when I apply the shadows onto my eyes, the matte shades don't really have any fallout. They apply so nicely. They blend out in like 5 seconds. You could blend out the matte shades. They take no time at all. The shimmer shades are going to have some more fallout. They're a little bit not super chunky, but they do just kind of break apart a little bit as you're applying it, and you're going to get some fallout down your face. So just comparing it to swatches that I did at Sephora, just feeling the shadow and just seeing like it photographed compared to these. I'm going to go ahead and insert a picture here. I took a picture of the shimmer shades from the Sunset palette, and that's what I really expected with this palette, is for that like really foiled metallic look. These are really pretty shimmer shades. They apply really consistent. They look really smooth. They're not like patchy. But I feel like the expectation with her shadows are that they're really foiled and buttery and metallic. And that's how I felt just swatching it in store, that this consistency was definitely different than the full-size Sunset palette. Those just felt like so metallic. This is still a good formula, but I definitely prefer those metallic, like really foiled, super pigmented shades, and that's what I wish I had with these shimmer shades. So they're good. They're just not amazing or spectacular or anything I haven't tried before. So that's really a swatch comparison, just seeing those shadows in store, and it made me actually want to pick up some of the 5-pan palettes. I swatched one of the 5-pan palettes. The shimmers were so buttery and smooth. I really want to try those out now. And just for a comparison, the 5-pan palettes, the other ones, the full-size 5-pan palettes, are $48 and have 0.44 ounces of product. So it is about twice the price, but you get 3 times the amount of product as you get in here. So I feel like that's not even like a bad value. It's definitely more high end, but for twice the price, I'd rather get like twice the quality and 3 times the product with those other 5-pan palettes. So that's kind of the gist of the formula. Let's go ahead into the tutorial so you guys can see how I got this eye look. It was pretty simple. It didn't take much effort, but you guys can see how I used all the 5 shades on my eyes today. All right, so getting into the palette, I'm going in with the matte shade Guava, the lighter shade, with a Sigma E40. And I'm going to be using every shade in this palette. Just going to apply that on my crease and carry it up a little bit because it is a lighter matte shade. And the mattes in here do blend out really nicely. They apply like really consistently and I don't find them to be like patchy. Then I'm moving into the shade Dirty Mars, which is a really warm brown shade. I'm just using a more dense crease brush from IT Cosmetics. I'm going to apply that in the outer corner and carry it kind of up into my crease. These two blend really nicely together, and these are also some of like my favorite matte shades that I like to use with like a lot of different eye looks. So those two mattes blend out in like seconds, very minimal, if not no fallout. I haven't like dusted away any fallout from those. The shimmer shades I'm gonna go into, this color is called Sunbeam. This is probably my favorite shimmer in the palette. It's more of like this coppery tone. I'm gonna use it wet, but I'm gonna apply it with a dry brush first so you guys can see how it applies. And I do find that these shadows are like densely packed. So the shimmers, like you do need to dig in there to get it to like pull up onto your brush. If you apply it with your finger, it's probably gonna be a little bit easier, but I definitely prefer applying it with a brush or adding some Fix Plus to really intensify it. So you do have to really get in there with your brush, but once you get it onto the lid, like that looks really pigmented without any Fix Plus, and you see there's definitely a bit more fallout there. And so you guys can see how much I've used in this palette so far. Like I'm really getting in there with my brush to try to pick up the product because it's so firmly packed. And it's not like a lack of pigmentation. I really want to emphasize that it's not like the shadow isn't pigmented, because you can see my brush is still dry. It looks really pigmented. It looks really opaque on my lid. But it's just like so firm in the palette that you do need to pick up a lot more product. So I feel like I'm going to run out of this palette by like mid-April. If I use it like consistently, for sure. I might not even use Fix Plus because it looks really pretty as it is. And then I'm gonna move into, I'm doing this like really quickly and talking, so not really even like paying too much attention to it. But this is basically like a very simple go-to warm eye look for me. So I'm moving into the shade Apollo, and this is probably the worst shimmer in the palette. This one is a bit more firm than the other two shimmer shades. And you guys can see how much I've had to get in my brush with this particular shade, just because it's such a dense formula. And this one isn't as pigmented as the other two shades. It's still pigmented, but the other ones are definitely more pigmented. And I'm just gonna add this to my outer corner just to give it more of like a reddish tone. I definitely don't want it to be like super burgundy. So then I'm just gonna add the shade Halo, the lightest shade, to the inner corner of my eye. My brush is still dry. And just pop that in the inner corner. So we've used all the shades in this palette. So I just added in some brown eyeliner to my lower lash line, and then I'm just gonna go in with basically both of the matte brown shades for my lower lash line too. Just the darker one, the shade Dirty Mars. like the outer edge of my eye. And then I'm just gonna diffuse that out with the shade Guava so it's not like super harsh. All right, so here's what everything looks like with just mascara. The eyeshadow is easy to blend out, easy to like create an eye look with. It just took like a couple minutes. I've been using this for several days. I've done this eye look already with this palette so I could see how all the shades work together. And it's just really quick and easy to use. The biggest downside is just like how dense these shimmer shades are in the palette. So if you just see like those two shades, there's already a decent amount of product missing, and I've had this for less than a week. So just after a few days of using it, I'm already like making dents in the shimmer shades. So that's definitely a downside with this palette, is just getting the shadow to pack onto my brush because they're so firmly pressed in the pan. But getting it onto my eyes, I don't have to like build and build and build like layers and layers. I didn't use any Fix Plus. I thought I would, and I have previous days using this palette, but I think it looks like really pigmented and shimmery without any Fix Plus. But I'm gonna go ahead and apply some falsies, finish up the rest of my makeup, and let you guys know all of my final thoughts. All right, so overall, I do have mixed feelings about this palette, and it's mostly because of the Natasha Denona name. If this was like a Too Faced palette, basically any other brand, I'd be like, okay, good, this is a good palette. They swatch nicely, they perform nicely. But because I was really hoping for like above and beyond for Natasha Denona and just having that same quality in a mini form, it's a good palette, but it's definitely not spectacular or life-changing at all. And because I really wanted to try out the Natasha Denona formula, part of me feels like, what's the point of this palette if it's kind of a different formula? So let me know if you guys have tried this palette and you also have other shadows from her. If you do find that they're different formulas, or just seeing the swatches, if you can see that they are a little bit different, because I definitely felt in stores just swatching it yesterday that they're really a lot more buttery and metallic compared to these. And these are still good. Like, I will still definitely use these shadows, but it's not anything that is more luxurious than some of my other palettes, and that was what I was really expecting with this palette and why I really wanted it. I bought it for the name, and the name didn't live up to that expectation. So overall, the Mini Sunset palette is good, but it's not amazing. I'm still going to use it and keep it and probably use it up. Just for a size reference, this is the Urban Decay Naked Petite Heat. So like width-wise, it's pretty similar, but it is still a very small palette. So I see myself using this up this spring. I like this eye look. I like the eye looks I've done with this palette, but it's not anything new or super exciting in my collection. So you guys will be the judge of whether or not you think this is worth it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and let me know if you have other Natasha Denona palettes in the comments and which one is your favorite. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.